Welcome. You're now tuned in to Underdog Talk. I'm your host, Eric Jones Jr., and I have conversations with successful underdogs. And today is no different than any other day. I have Ms. Kristle Brooks. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you today?
I'm doing good. I was doing good. I was doing great. I was having a good day. I had a plan, and I left my phone in the Uber, so I'm waiting on that. So my day is
Your
is
day is
waiting.
still going
Yeah,
good.
it's,
Because
it's
we're going to fix that small problem. We're going to keep it going.
Yeah, I like that attitude. So, I need a fun fact.
A fun fact about me,
Mm-hmm.
I am a sports lover. I'm a sports junkie.
Who your favorite team?
Right now, my favorite team, my number one favorite team, sorry, Indianapolis, is the Eagles because I like Devontae Smith. So,
Y'all better hope y'all win tonight.
See, why you got to be on my team like that?
Because I'm a Packers fan and we made it to the next round.
But see, y'all had a 27-0 point lead, and then y'all only beat them by 16.
We
What
won.
happened?
We won.
But y'all shouldn't
We
have let
won.
them get to where if
It don't matter.
CD
I
Lamb would have
don't.
caught that pass in the end zone,
If
it would have been a
was the
touchdown.
fifth, we be drunk right now, but we not, and we on to the next round. Y'all just make sure y'all get there, cause Gilly the kid, he is a Philly fan. He is just talking so much about the Cowboys, and I just want Philly to win so he don't be sad. Cause my team won. Nobody talked about us.
Right.
Nobody mentioned
Well,
the Packers.
Jordan Love had a great
Nothing.
game.
Yeah, we had a good
He played
season.
right. He played good because what is this his first year really starting?
Yes,
Yeah,
first year.
because Aaron Rodgers just left.
Just left. Bears. Yeah.
Yes.
We got a first year quarterback, Bears. Y'all still got Justin Fields and can't do nothing, Bears.
Well, I don't think it's just Justin Fields.
Oh no, it's the organization. I mean,
Yes,
I'm going on 30 something, closer to 40, and my whole life the Bears ain't won nothing. I don't know why they keep rooting for them, why they excited for them. Them boys is trash.
Well, I remember the '85 Bears.
Yeah,
They did
85. It is
Super Bowl shuffle.
2024. That's the last time the Bears shuffled. That's the last cha-cha shuffle, any shuffle. We can talk about this all day because I ain't going. I'm a Packers fan, and we about that action. Like
I know y'all got that big rivalry with the Bears.
Yeah, we don't lose.
That's why you don't like them. Y'all got that
We don't
rivalry with
lose.
the Bears.
Yeah, and then they want us to lose in the playoffs. Man, what? Because y'all will never make the playoffs.
But y'all think y'all going to beat the 49ers?
No, listen. I am a realist. We do not do great against the 49ers in the playoffs. People don't look at stats and records because if people did, they would have bet on the Packers because we haven't lost to the Cowboys in their stadium. That's sad.
Well, since 2007?
No, since they've been in the AT&T Stadium.
Wow.
We haven't lost. We have more playoff wins there than they do. So I'm going to be a realistic. And I'm nervous. I ain't even going to say we can win. We might can win. If we win, hey, hallelujah. If we lose, I kind of, what ain't going to be as sad.
Right.
Because the 49ers
you're already anticipating the loss, but you never know.
So who's your basketball team?
Basketball right now, you know what? I've kind of laid back on watching basketball. My son played football and basketball, but he chose football in college. So he's kind of taken away, and I was watching some college ball today. So if I had to say anybody right now, I would just go with the Pacers. Because I'm not really watching it right now.
That's cool. Celtics. I am a Celtics fan.
Yeah, Celtics are good too. They're good too.
We are. Hopefully this is our year. Yeah. So a fun fact about me, I thought about this earlier today because I always think of it when I'm here in a chair. I like to dance, and I really can dance. I have my own parties in my house. I be jamming and grooving. No, I ain't talking. I'm talking. I really I can cut a rug. Like I ain't gonna hold you. Yeah, like I can dance. Like some people just be out there. No, I really. And some people know I can. Some people don't. Like I can salsa. I can do all different kinds of dances. When I say I can dance, like I'm really good at it. I don't know. It's just something in my genes that I've always been able to dance because even when I was little. So, and my son, he takes after me and he can dance too. So, yeah.
I can do a little bit of dancing.
All right. Two step?
A little bit.
Can you step?
No. So no, I cannot step.
You can't dance. Okay. We're gonna go to some more important things to talk about because I don't know if your two step is gonna be two step or if it's gonna be two left. All right. So you are the finance lady
Yes.
because I know his first name Don. Don't know how to. It's on Facebook. I don't know how to say his last
Don Keanu.
name. Yeah. So I met him within the last year at an event. We've been cool, and I've always seen him post you, and I've noticed that through your post and just seeing it because I've had different financial people on. And it's never a bad thing to have different ones, just because you can learn something from everybody.
Sure can.
And you reached out to me, and now we're here. So um, tell us, like, give us your backstory. Um, of why you got into finances. Was it something that happened? Was you going through something to get to this point? Because I know you didn't just wake up and have all this knowledge and being able to do all these different things. So what is the story behind you becoming the finance lady?
Okay, well, I've been in finances for almost 19 years. So I spent 17 years in the mortgage industry.
Mm-hmm.
And I got into that part of it because I was in the process of buying my house, and me and my friend used to have mortgage meetings. And my mom is a realtor, so as we were doing these mortgage meetings, I was like, wow, this is cool. I want to do this. Opportunity came and I took it. Was a loan officer for about 3 to 5 years, and then became a processor for the remaining 12 years. Now, how I transitioned was, as I said, my youngest son graduated last year. He played two sports, so I did the training with him, games year round, practices, all that. So his junior year, I'm like, wait a minute, he's going to graduate. What am I going to do? Because, when you become an empty nester, you're like, okay, your life starts again, and you're like, where do I go from here? So I got to thinking, I was like, well, what do I really want to do? Because I like helping people. And then I had an aha moment. I said, you know what? I'm getting closer to retirement, and I don't know nothing about money. So, it started as just me thinking about how am I going to retire? And so I started researching. I already have a bachelor's degree. And I said, well, how do I get into financial advising? Because that's where I was going to try to get in first. So did research, and I'm real big on manifestation. Because the day I started researching, I received a phone call from an insurance company. And they were talking about life insurance stuff. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. Got signed up, started testing for the FAFSA. You got to test to get a license, and started reading the material, and my mind just opened. I'm like, whoa, what is this? Why aren't we talking about it? So that developed my passion. And as I've been doing it for almost 2 years, but as I've been doing it, I've just been picking up more and more stuff like learning about financial education, financial literacy, the difference between being rich and wealthy, your financial trauma, your money mindset, your relationship with money. So I'm picking all this stuff up just by educating myself and learning because I don't want to box myself in. Mm-hmm. So that's my story. That's how I got into it.
Oh, that's I like that because you kind of always been around finances per se or some form of it or dealing with it, but then you had that aha moment and was like, what am I going to do now that the kids are gone? I'm not close to that. One kid is gone, graduated, and then there's still my son. He's only 9, so it's some years to go. But like you said, when people's children leave, it's like you start over because it's like, ooh, I'm free. I can do what I want at home. I can, whatever. I can have food in the house that I want to eat next week, and it's still gonna be in there. Or I can have some snacks.
Don't say that part yet, because they come home to visit.
Oh yeah. And listen. I'm gonna tell you this. It don't matter how old we get. We coming home, and whatever you got in that refrigerator, whatever you got in the house, we going shopping.
That's right.
Because when my mom, she got everything. So when I go to her house, yep, I need this, I need this, I need this. She was like, hold on, I need it, mom. Come on, you got enough, you don't need it. So I definitely understand that part of it. Yeah. So, but you still get some type of freedom, right?
Yes, you do. You get to move freely, in what you want to do. My youngest son right now, we're still sharing cars, but I'm like, you tell me your schedule, I'll tell you mine, because I got that flexibility. We just work it out, but I don't have to find no babysitters. Yes. I ain't got to worry about, well, if I leave them at home, are they going to be okay? because all that's done.
Yeah,
It's done.
you lucky.
But the thing is that we don't understand is that our kids transitioning from childhood to adulthood, man, that is the hardest part of parenting. Because at that point, we can't tell our kids what to do. We can give them advice, we can make suggestions, but they don't have to do it because they're finding their own way. So I'm a mom of three boys. And the hardest thing about raising three boys is making sure I'm not enabling them or holding them back
Yep.
from growing.
I have, yeah, the older one going through that right now. She's smelling herself, oh, I'm gonna do it this way, I'm gonna do it that way, and just moving however she want, and that's cool. But it's like you gonna bump your head, and when you bump your head, remember you said you know it all.
Right.
No, what you gonna do then? You gonna call her mom, might hit me. Oh well, this and this happened. Well, that's your fault because I feel like the kids nowadays are in a rush. Like they think they grown and they don't even have to be. They live in a house with a mom, maybe a dad, or a dad's involved. Like they don't have to rush adulthood. They want to rush. I want to do what I want. Listen, if there's any kids listening, trust me, adulting is not fun. It's not fun at all. It's bologna sandwiches and chips. It's water bottles, no pop, no juice. It's stress. It's bills, and they pop up and they keep coming up and they don't stop. And then like you might not get the right paycheck. They didn't put your pay in right. You could get fired because the way of the world. It's not fun. So don't rush it. Like please don't rush adulthood as a child because you got a lot to learn, especially young men. Unless you got somebody that's installing manhood in you, you don't really grow till you 25, 30. Like till you mature and realize, okay, I need to stop doing this dumb stuff and start doing the things that I need. So I understand. I remember I watched Pursuit of Happiness, went to the movies, and I just watched the movie and I kind of cried a little bit and I called my mom and said thank you because it gave me a perspective of a parent and what they really had to go through. And it's like, man, y'all go through a lot. Then when you become a parent, you understand.
Right. Like I told my son recently while he's been home on break, he was like, well, just let me figure it out. I said, you don't even know if you can handle the consequence of just letting you figure it out and bump your head. Y'all not built for this. It doesn't mean that y'all may not be able to handle it, but you don't even know what you're getting yourself into, how it's going to turn out, who you can turn to. I mean, there's a lot of layers that you got to go through when it comes to adulthood. So allow yourself to still be educated, still be taught. Don't rush it. Take your time with it because I promise you, every time they say I'm grown and then they need someone, it's like, oh, remember you said you grown. I don't have to do this. This is a choice.
I like what you said. They're not ready for the consequence.
Right.
Because and the consequence might not be like you getting in trouble, but it could be you go buy a car and you didn't research and something happened to your car. Now you don't got the money because you gave all the money to the car people. Right. Now you, mom, dad, can you, no, remember you grown. You got it. And you're not ready for those consequences. Because there's consequences like, I give one example. My mom, I was in Cedar Point on my way to come back home. I worked there for the summer. My mom's like, get on a Greyhound. I'm like, no, my bro got a car. I'm going to drive with. We can ride with him. We're going to be able to chill, everything. We get to somewhere in Ohio, car breakdown. Not funny. I don't like that.
No, I've had that happen to me too. I don't
like that you're laughing already. But so, the car breakdown. We like somewhere, it's a highway. And we have to, I don't remember. We got to wherever we got to. We was $2 short on the hotel. Found $2 because they only took cash. Oh. And the ATM was across a major highway. So it was like, he was like, no, y'all ain't going to go. Somehow we found the $2. We stayed there. Car wasn't going to make it. Guess how I got home? The Greyhound. But this the messed up part. I had the money to get on the Greyhound. I was cool, but I didn't have all my clothes. So that semester of school, I didn't have no clothes until the second semester of school, not the first semester. The first semester I was in flip-flops and shorts and jogging pants because I didn't have no shoes. All my stuff was in Ohio, and my mom eventually went to go get it. But that's a consequence that, oh, no, mom, I got it. Oh, yeah, you got it, all right. Yeah, I ain't have nothing. And if when you really think about it, it's kind of like finances. We not you're not prepared for the consequence of when you do something or when you spend some money. Because a lot of us we get that paycheck and it's the weekend. Comes the paycheck usually on Thursday or Friday. We gonna either go out, go get us something good to eat, maybe buy something, do something, spend some unnecessary money that first weekend. And then you paid your bills, you made it, but that week before you get paid, you eat bologna sandwiches, peanut butter and jelly, oodles and noodles, because you didn't spend the money that you could have used for the week that you don't have that money that you get paid. And then you looking at around like, whose fault is it? It's your fault. Because I noticed my cycle. So the questions I'm asking today is off of me either been there, done that, and trying to help somebody else, or I might be there right now. So
Right.
with finances, what are two bad habits that a lot of people have that they don't even realize if they change it could help
One I would say is your money mindset
them? Hmm.
and not seeing the numbers. And the reason why I say your money mindset is a lot of us, when we have problems with finances, the first thing we think it's normal. And it's not. That's not the way it's supposed to go. So instead of us trying to find the problem or finding our why, we just keep on. And as we keep on, we just get negative with it. Like, oh, I'm never gonna get out of this. This is how it's supposed to be. Nothing ever works for me. When you're saying those negative things, you're putting that in your mind. So as long as it's negative, you're never going to want to change to get financial freedom. The second thing I say, which is not seeing the numbers, we have to see our numbers to know where our money is going. Like if you're trying to budget, you can't budget inside your head. You got to write the numbers down. You got to write down how much you have in bills monthly, how much you bring home monthly. Do the math and see, okay, this is how much I have left. Because once you see what you have left, then you can decide what you can do with the money you have left over. You can save it. I tell people all the time when it comes to saving, I have three separate accounts. I separate my money.
Hmm.
And the reason why I separate is so I can know what I'm spending my money on. So you can separate it, or you can, if you want to invest, you can use it to invest, or, you can do whatever you want, but you have to see what your money is doing to know how it's working for you. I tell people, when you see the numbers, you take control of your money versus your money controlling you.
Yep, yep. That's one thing when I began to like learn about budget and I took the Dave Ramsey course and you take what you want out of it, but I remember them saying, look at your numbers. And when you look at what you spend your money on, you want to slap yourself. Like I
Right.
spend my money on this stupid stuff because you spend because in your mind it's like, oh, it's just $3, it's just $2, it's just one, it's just this. And then when you add up the unnecessary money, you be like, dang, I got this amount of money left, but I didn't
Right.
spend it. And I had to look myself in the mirror and say, hey, we got to cut back on this. But then, so say somebody does that, right? They budget, they look, even they little unnecessary spending ain't that much. How do they get out of a hole that they're in? Because they going to work, they paying their bills, they basically not making enough at the job. Is it go get a new job that makes more, or is it a way that you can budget the little bit that you have yeah, the little bit that you have.
Well, I would say this, and I'm glad you brought that up. Having multiple streams of income, everybody talks about it, but everybody talks about it in a general manner. If you're going to have multiple streams of income, you have to have a plan for that money. Because if you start looking at your numbers and you see that you have too much debt and you can get rid of, or you want to take away some spending to do something else, having extra income can allow you to, one, pay off those debts,
Hmm.
or if you want to use it for something else, it can give you that lift to do something else. But you always have to have a plan for your money. Finances is all about planning. We don't realize that.
Hmm.
We get a paycheck every 2 weeks. Our bills have a due date.
They sure do.
We can write down what's due with that date and match it up with when you get paid. So that way, each time you get paid, you know what bills you got to pay. But if we're not planning our finances, you can have as many jobs or streams of income you want. You can still be broke. So I would say if you get another job, have a plan for it. If you're like, okay, another job doesn't fit in my timeline, in my schedule, then just start taking it a little bit at a time. Find your numbers, and even if you got $20 left, or I'm saying more than 20, because you got to factor in gas for when you get paid and again and stuff. But I would say take the little bit of money you have left, find the lowest level bill, and just start chopping away like that. Most of the times they say take the biggest bill and start chopping away. But if you got to start with the little bill, do that. I remember when COVID was going on, I was working a W-2 job. I'm not afraid to say I used to have bad credit. Mm-hmm. But what I did was, as I was working a lot of hours, I started just chopping away at my bills. Every time a bill would come in, an old bill would come in, I'll call them up. Hey, can I settle this bill for this amount? Yes. Next time I got paid, bam, there you go. So it's just about us finding a way to do it. A lot of us start, oh, I got to do it real big. No, you don't. Start small because those small things are still victories for you, and it's going to motivate you to keep going.
I love that. Hold on, I just want to make sure. Just I don't want to miss nothing because I got the next. Okay, cool. He ain't seen it. So I like what you said because I learned that like get a bill, go pay it, go chop it down so you can get your credit better. Because a lot of my credit ain't great right now, but it's not because of like debt. I don't have a lot of debt. It's more so missed payments. Some of it was out of my control. Don't want to put nobody business out there, but it's out of my control. Uh, so that messed my credit up, and then it's like, okay, I got these little things that I can, pay off, and that's how you get your credit by showing them that you're gonna pay off whatever debt that you have. So I was sitting there thinking, we get, you get your money, you're barely you're making it, but you're barely making it. Do you still pay yourself first?
I would say people may not agree with what I'm going to say, but I would say no, because you don't have it to pay yourself first. And then that's another blanket statement. Pay yourself first. What are you doing with that money? Are you wasting it? Because most people, when we say pay yourself first, they're thinking that's free money for me to go waste. When there's a thing called time value of money. Your dollar is worth more now than it is in the future. If we truly understood that, instead of us taking money and wasting it, we would be putting it in an account where it can grow. The longer your money sits, it can grow. So be careful of these blanket statements because a lot of us don't have discipline to do what's right with our money. One thing I'll expand on this more. Credit cards is probably the only thing I would say pay first if it's the biggest thing. And the reason is because that there's a thing called compound interest. Compound interest, one, it grows our money, but it can work against us in debt. And credit card is one of the things that accumulates compound interest. So the longer we let that credit card sit, the more interest it's going to accumulate and become higher. So start knocking down that credit card first, and then take care of everything else.
One thing I've only had two credit cards. Something when I and I'm learning more about it now and how to do it. And you should get you should get credit cards to help you and stuff of that sort. But I don't know. As a kid, I just felt like I learned something in high school, and I was like, I don't really think I should get no credit card. And I never got one. I think I got one early, like when I was young, and then I got one maybe a few years ago. And both other times didn't work out for me great because I didn't utilize them the right way. But now that I'm learning about credit cards and business credit and all those different things and ways to help you, it's like the one word you said is discipline. I think when it comes to finances, a lot of us aren't disciplined. It ain't that we don't got the money, it's that we don't want to sit out. We don't want to miss the fun. We don't want to sit out of summer. We don't want to sit out. We don't want to miss no events. We don't want to be honest with our kids and say, hey, hell, I ain't got it. I ain't got it this year. I promise you. I'm honest with my kids. I listen. I know y'all gonna have a good Christmas. I know y'all gonna have this or that because your mama gonna make sure your grandma, whatever. But hey, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I ain't got it, and I don't feel bad that I can't get you nothing. I wish I could, but my life is jacked up. I'm trying to these 4 letter words called bill, rent, all this stuff. If I was to go and get you this stuff, then where I'm gonna live? I'm gonna come live with you and your mama? Nah, no. So I'm gonna make sure I'm good over here. And throughout the year, if you want something, I can be able to get it. But I'm not about to get it overexcited about a holiday and be broke and be like, well, who I'm gonna stay with?
Right. No, I don't even celebrate Christmas no more. I stopped doing it maybe about 10 years ago. And it was because, I was like, why stress myself over trying to get my kids gifts for one day when I buy for them all year?
It don't even and kids, and when you got kids, I would say 10 and under, maybe even teenage and under, like 13 and under. Most of the stuff that they get, they play with for 2 weeks,
Right.
and then they don't even remember. Every gift I give because I know you gonna use it. It might not be the most hype gift you gonna get on Christmas, but guess what? After a month, you still using it. You still playing with it, and that's how I think. Cause I'm like, okay, cause my mom used to do that. She have us make this whole list for no reason, cause we ain't getting nothing on it. But we had a list, and it was like 3 big things, and we normally got one out of the three, and then you got everything that you needed, clothes, stuff of that sort. And I'm like, okay, we make sure you got some new clothes and all that, and then these gifts you want, because I be thinking like, and it's the same with birthdays. People get excited and celebrate their birthdays, but did you do anything in that year?
Right.
What are you celebrating? Okay, I know you celebrating it's the day you was born, but you be like, oh, I'm going out, da 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 da, and then you go out with people because everybody gonna hang out because it's a birthday, but none of them people hung out with you the whole year.
Right.
But now you, hey, come on, I'm having a party, come, and it's lit. You celebrating on New Year's, you celebrating on these man-made holidays, and you ain't done nothing to celebrate. On my last birthday, I was like, man, I've had a good year. I actually done some shit that I can celebrate, and I was happy with it. And I was like, I can do something. Because I'm not big on holidays. I'm not big on my birthday. But I was like, I'm going to do something because I deserve it. And I think a lot of times people's finances ain't where they supposed to be because they want to keep up with the Joneses. And sometimes the Joneses don't even be where you think they are.
No, and that's our biggest problem. Like I've had somebody say to me, well, I got to see what they doing when they talking about finances. When you're building your wealth and changing your bad habits with finances, it's not a show and tell thing.
Mm-mm.
It's the most silent move you can make. Like when you think about those who have real big money, most of them are not broadcasting what they have. We think we got to see everything when it comes to your finances, and I'm like, no, you don't.
Mm-mm.
No, you don't, because growing wealth and changing your habits, that's not something you show, it's something you teach. You pass the knowledge down, not show you the materialistic thing. I want to show you the education piece, the knowledge, the wisdom that comes with the changes that I'm making.
Yeah, because I don't want you to give me a fish. I want you to teach me how to fish.
That's right.
And like you said, it's in our community is, oh, they got that new car. Oh, they got this. I don't, when I just moved and don't nobody know where I live. They just know I live on the south side of town. Don't nobody know where I live. You don't need to know because people will judge you off of if you got this, if you don't got that. That ain't got nothing. None of your opinions affect my bills, so I don't care what you got to say. And that's a lot of people's problems is they want to show. Oh, I gotta show. Oh, let me get this bling. Let me get this. You ain't gotta show nobody nothing, nothing. Because if something happened to you, none of those people gonna have your back. They ain't gonna look out for your family. None of those things. So you don't gotta show it off. You show off to yourself because you can go do it, but you ain't gotta impress nobody. And I think that's a lot of downfall when it comes to us and finances. Because if we think of NBA players and entertainers, they all showing all this money, but behind the scenes, some of them be broke.
Right, right. You can show a lot of things on social media and present an image to people, but behind the scenes, you can be suffering in silence because one, what you're doing is not making you happy. It's not changing your situation, and you don't even know who you can turn to help your situation.
That is true. So, what are some strategies that people they got one income? They trying to get that other income. It ain't really working. They kind of got a side hustle, but it ain't really working for them. They might have a not a side like a side hustle where they can get paid here and there. So they really got one income, and the income monthly covers their bills, but they didn't spend right. So they paycheck to paycheck or they paycheck to overdraft. What are some strategies that they can do when they hear this episode that can help them to move the needle forward to getting out of the red and getting into the black?
Right. One thing I would say is track your spending. That's why, like, I asked myself, why is my money constantly going fast, fast, fast? Well, I only had one bank account with my bills coming out and my everyday spending coming out. So your money's going to go fast. So separate your money. Like right now, I have about 5 accounts. So I got a bill account, an everyday account, a savings account, and 2 business accounts. I'm doing an event, and I didn't want the money that I get from the event to be intermingling with my regular business account because I got business bills coming out of that account. So I set up a separate. Another thing you can do is start looking at your bank statements because that's your first clue on where your money is going. Again, look at the numbers. You got to start looking at what am I spending my money on? Where can I cut back at? If you're getting extra money from a side hustle, don't spend that money. Put that money aside. Cut out going out to eat, entertainment. Like another thing I tell people is we are swipe happy with debit cards. We have so much access to get our money quick, fast, and in a hurry that when we go to events, check out how much you want to spend at that event and leave your debit card at home. But make sure you got gas. Make sure you got gas. But leave your debit card at home. I do a lot of vendor events. And when I first started doing it, I was like, oh, I got to have my debit card so I can support everybody because I want them to support me. Man, my money was going so fast. I said, you know what? I ain't doing this no more. So now what I do, I take out $20, leave my debit card at home. That $20 is just my food money, and that's it. But you got to start looking at what your finances are. You got to get control. And the only way to get control is start looking. Look at your spending. How can I control my spending? Separate them accounts. Don't take your debit card everywhere because when you go to that concession stand and buy popcorn, next thing you know, I'm thirsty. So you go get some water. Next thing you know, I want some candy. Then your kids say, Mama, can I have some chips? Then you're going back. So think about that. You may be thinking, I only spent $20. You look at your bank account, you're like, man, where did I spend $40 at? Or let's say you're getting prepared for an event that you're having or some special occasion and you're spending money. Set a budget on how much you want to spend. Take that money out of your account, put that debit card up, and just use it. If you run out, you can't get nothing else. Sometimes I tell myself, if nothing is in my everyday account, I can't go. I can't go, and I'm okay with that. I used to be a Starbucks junkie. I cut that out because you're thinking, oh, it ain't number $5. Shoot, that's like $25, $30 a week.
Yep.
That's $25, $30. You take it by 4, that's $120 that we're just wasting. So the little things that you're thinking are not adding up, oh, they're adding up. And if you start taking away from those little things that you're doing, you'll start seeing more inflow of money coming in.
Yeah, that is true. Looking at your numbers is gonna be, like I said earlier, a slap in the face. Yeah. Because you're gonna actually see where your money's going. So I have like my regular account, then I have where I switch money, and that's what what I spend money on after I pay my bills. So I can look and see every time, and I'll be like, dang, hold on, I know I didn't spend, and then I go back like, oh, I did take, because you're right, you could go to an event, right? So say my son got a game, go to his game.
Oh, I know about them games.
And well, I coach, so I get stuff for free. But if I didn't coach, you might get something to drink. That's $5 probably. And you might be like, well, I ain't really eat this morning. We was rushing out the house to get something. Now you go to, maybe they got a game later. Man, we ain't stopped nowhere. I'm hungry again. Mm-hmm. And you didn't spend $60 in that day. And then I Uber. So this is how my day goes. I look, okay, I can go here. I can go here. This is cheaper to go here. and they got food there, so I know. Or it's like, okay, I can go over to my homie house. I know if I go over there, I can move around and won't have to spend no money, but then come back. Because my son would be like, oh, Dad, let's go here, and then we can go over here. I'm like, okay, who house can we go over? Where can we go where we can spend enough hours there and we can have fun, so I don't have to spend here, and there.
Right.
Because I look at my number, people be like, man, you cheap. No, I ain't cheap. I'm smart. Because that week, before pay week, I ain't trying to be like, dang, I ain't got no money, or hey, can I borrow a couple dollars? I hate that. And it happens in life. But when you look at your numbers, and like you said, some people be like, oh, I go to Starbucks or and da da da, and it might not be that much, but then when you look at it at the end of the month, that 120 could have went to you investing on something.
Right.
It could have been in some stocks, or oh, that side hustle. You could have got that new machine or put something towards that. Or however you could have used it, you could have used it smarter than what you were using it for whatever BS. Because I remember when I got a financial coach, and that's the first thing he said. You got to write down everything. And I looked, I was like, oh, this is some bullshit. What am I spending my money on? So that is a great tip, to look at your numbers.
Right.
Oh,
Okay. One thing I wanted to say that I didn't mention when you was asking about strategies is coming up with a good budgeting concept. For me, I use the budgeting concept called 50-30-20. 50% to your bill, 30% to your wants, and 20% to saving. You can play with those numbers. Like when I use 60-20-20. And the reason why you want to do that is because, again, you want to separate that money out. So you don't want to say, okay, I'm going to put all my money in my bill account and then put $5 in your everyday account. Because if there's something that you want and you've already spent that $5, what's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to go into that bill account. So the purpose of the budgeting concept is to ensure that each bucket has money in it to where you don't have to touch it. So if you have a little bit of income, come up with a good budgeting concept. Like, again, people say budget, but how do people budget? You got to figure out a way. It's not just writing down your bills and seeing and your income and seeing what you have left. You got to assign buckets for your money. So that way, again, you're not touching it. So I already know I got this money in my bill account, so my personal bills are covered. I already got this money in my bill account, so my business bills are covered. Then I got my everyday money. Again, if my everyday bucket is empty, I'm be sitting right at home, watching movies, reading a book, or looking stupid, twiddling my fingers like this. So
yeah, that is so true. That helps me, thinking about doing a budget where you have percentage here and percentage there, and not just, oh, well, this is, you look at your numbers and you know your expenses and you know your everyday, but if you don't know the percentage of, okay, I need to put this amount of my paycheck in here, or this amount of it in there, that makes perfect sense to be able to, to help yourself be able to budget and know actually how much is in there and how much is in there. Because like you said, a lot of people, you don't separate it, and then that everyday money gone, you go in that bill money. Then if you really think about it, say, so for instance, if you got that everyday money, you maybe just $50 out that bill money. That bill come up. You forgot when the date of the bill come up. That bill came up 2 days later. Now you don't got it. Now they didn't add it on a fee. Now because of that $50 you took out and you could have said no to your friends hanging out, now you got to pay an extra $25 on that $50. Now you sitting there looking silly because whatever that service is might get cut off. So you got to make sure that you know how to separate that. And I ain't talking to y'all. I'm talking to me. I ain't even gonna hold you, because I know this year I can feel it. I can tell that the finances is gonna come. The benefits of me being consistent with the podcast and just things coming. I see it happening already. But if I can't manage that little that I got, then when that big come, it's like, okay, I got some money now. But then am I gonna trick it off? Am I gonna spend? Because a lot of people really think I got. So my next question is 100,000 is six figures, and when I say six figures, I say 300,000 or less. When I say the six figures, because you could have 999.99, and you could be almost a millionaire, and say he'll say you six figures. So if you got $300,000 or less, is that considered rich or wealthy in 2024?
Well, it all depends. Rich, I say rich is something that's short term. You're not thinking about the future. You can still be living above your means. You can still be mismanaging your money. So that's what rich is. Whereas with wealthy, you're thinking about making smart financial decisions. You're thinking about your future, and you have longevity in your mind. Like to me, wealthy is longevity, sustainability, and legacy. Whereas rich is, I want this right now. So I'm gonna get this right now because I got the money. There's a lot of people that are quote unquote rich and broke at the same time.
Mm, mm, that is so true. You can be rich and broke because a lot of people, I think for our culture, we look at things wrong. We look at, let's go get the apartment because if you go get a house, it's just almost the same as the apartment, and it's much better to have a house. You might have a little more maintenance of doing it on your own, but I remember my cousin told me, he's like, if you're gonna rent, you might as well get a house.
That's right.
And we don't pay attention to our credit. We This is the craziest thing. I thought I had bad credit for the longest for whatever I owe because of student loans. My student loans was never even that bad. I don't think they was even over 10,000 when they were wherever they were at. And the whole time never looked at my credit, never knew how. I just knew I got bad credit. My ex-wife, we go, what was the first thing? I think it was a car. She was like, no, it wasn't a car, it was a house. She was like, your credit is good. This is da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, wait a minute, what? I didn't know, but I never had any debt. I only had missed payments because I was young, and I'm like, oh, I ain't paying that or whatever. So my credit wasn't really that bad until a certain point where after the divorce, I just put it there. And so my credit went down, but I never looked at my numbers and didn't realize I had good credit. So that's what you're saying, and what I'm saying is look at your numbers. Actually go look at it, because you don't want to be rich and broke, because rich and broke is you live in an apartment and you got a car that costs more than your rent, and you styling and profiling, but you could go live in a house. You complaining about, oh well, they got this and this at the apartments. Go get you a house. You got the money for it. You just don't have the discipline to do the things that you want, that you should be doing. Because I tell myself this: it's easier to do the dumb shit than it is to do the right stuff.
Right, it is, and I will also say it's not just living in an apartment over a house. It's living above your means. We think the more income we get, the higher level we gotta live. No, live within your means, because if anything happens, what's going to happen to that house? What's going to happen to that car? You've created a lifestyle for yourself, and you got to make sure that it's within reason. We don't have to have the biggest everything. We don't have to have the most newest this or that. It's okay to live within your means. But I know it's hard for us because we live in the age of social media, and we see how everybody else is living, and we want that lifestyle, but it takes work to get there.
Yep, it's like kids. So, they first car, it's got to be something crazy. Man, if you don't sit down and get this used car,
right.
Like a lot of people, and not just with kids, but you don't want to crawl before you walk. You gotta, like, when I got my first car, and I've got cars from people, but when I got my first, it was old school. That's what I wanted. I knew I ain't got the money to go out there and try to go get nothing new. As long as this car worked, got me from A to B, it wasn't nothing going on with it, I was cool with it, and it rolled like a mug. Did that, got rewarded with a newer car because I did everything right to get the car that I needed. Not the car I wanted, it's the car I needed from get me from here to go pick my son up, to do this, to do that. And I was able to, and then I got something new. A lot of kids, a lot of people, when they want to get they want to, oh, let's get something that's flashy so we can show people. Again, none of them people you showing off to give a damn about you. Because think about when you down and out, how many of them people helping you out? Any of them people around? Nope. They ain't nowhere to be found. They ain't calling. They ain't checking on you. But I see you doing big things. You got that new. Right. No, I just, I can afford it. Like, that's all. It ain't that I'm doing something to show off to nobody. Like, I ain't gonna be a person when I get some money and get a whole bunch of chains and all that. That ain't never been me. So that's not
Right.
gonna be me now with some money. I might be a little more fashionable, but I've always been fashionable. Now I have some money to do the fashion that I want. But I've always been able to put something together. You gotta be the same person you are without money when you have money. Because if you aren't, as quickly as you get it, as quick as it can get taken away from you.
That's right. So what you're saying is, and which something I totally agree, don't develop bad habits when you get that money. Because some of us do that. We develop bad habits as the money goes. Like, I think the biggest negative money mindset we can say is, I got to give my kids everything I didn't get.
Mm.
Because we'll put ourselves in a bad situation, financial situation, trying to give our kids everything. And then when they can't get it no more, you're setting them up because they're not going to be able to handle not being able to have that lifestyle.
Yeah, I'm that parent. You ain't got to get what you need. What my son, he 9, so he was between in second, third grade. I want a Gucci who, a Gucci what? What you say, sir? Why you want that? Oh, cause I was on YouTube and CJ So Cool got his kid. Oh, okay, that's cool. That we not doing that. Cause what you need a Gucci belt for? Cause now if you think of it, you get your kid some stuff, and it sucks that what I'm about to say can happen. You get your kid that flashy stuff, and you got a little man in them. Look, he got that new stuff. We want that, and then people will take it. Like, so it's not saying don't get your kid stylish stuff, but what you getting it for? If your kid can't read, I'm in the school system, so I'm talking to some of you parents. Your kid struggling reading in kindergarten. I'm in first grade. They can't tie their shoe in kindergarten. Stop buying them Jordans. They can't change. They can't unzip and zip up their pants. Stop buying them the fashionable stuff because they gonna pee on themselves. And you get mad because their clothes dirty. Like, let a kid be a kid. Stop dressing your babies up, putting makeup on the little babies, all that. Let them be a kid. Stop trying to grow them up before they even grown by getting them stuff so they can look cool for Instagram. So y'all can go, ooh, look at the family. What? Why is this child 3 years old and face beat up because she got all this makeup on? That's stupid because you're creating bad habits for your kids as they get older. Like if you buy your kid everything and they don't do their chores, they gonna think they ain't gotta go to work. I wish you said you want what, son? You been taking the trash out at home? Oh, I did that to my son. I said, oh, did you take the trash out? Well, I took out some of what? Some of it. I don't get some of. No, you gotta take all of it. You gotta do your and I realized that from being a kid with my mom. If you didn't do what you were supposed to do at home, you ain't get nothing.
That's right.
Because when you go out in the real world, if you don't go to work, guess what? You don't get nothing. You don't get that paycheck. They're gonna lay you off. So that is definitely some good advice of create good habits. So when you do get the money, you still have those habits. Because it's not just with money, it's who you are as a person. Because sometimes people get the surgeries, they go do these different things and make them look different, but you still that same evil person inside.
That's right. That's right.
You still that same evil person. You got some money. Your family might ask you for some money. You got it. No, I ain't got. You don't want to help nobody else out when you got money. But remember when you didn't have money, you had to ask people for money, and you had to ask to borrow, and people did it. You have to be able to do that when you have it, so it can come back to you. Because I promise, as quickly as you get it, it had been stripped. I've been like, I just got
them bills.
Got it.
Them bills.
It happens.
Yeah. Another thing I would say is how we're raising our kids is developing their money mindset. Which money mindset is your attitudes and beliefs about money. So if you're going out and buying your kids all this stylish stuff, they're going to think that they have to have that when they get older. But are they going to be willing to work for it? And what if it doesn't, as they get older, what if it doesn't happen the way they want it to where they can still afford it? That's going to give them a negative money mindset.
Yep. That's why you have to be honest with your kids and you got to show them the hard work. So if you starting a business, bring your kids around so they can see. And money ain't coming in. My son, he's around. He's been to events. He's here when I record sometimes. I want him to see. I want him to remember when I didn't have nothing, when I was showing up every week, wasn't getting paid nothing. I just showed up every week and was doing the same thing. And then when it boom, he like, oh, okay, that's what hard work looks like. That's right. Because you have to show your kid. You can't tell kids nothing these days. You got to show them. Because if you don't show them, they ain't gonna believe you. No, they're not gonna do like, oh yeah, well you do this. If you do this, show me. I can't believe nothing you say because my whole family didn't lie to me, and I don't believe nothing an adult say. So if you can't show me, then so you can't just go and tell somebody how to do it. You gotta show them how to do it. It's just like I said earlier. Don't give me no fish. Show me how to fish. Right. Because you might not be here one time and I'm here and I'm like, oh, what am I supposed to do? How do you put this on here? How do you do? I want you to show me. And that's where someone like you is helping people with finance. You're showing them what to do. You're not just saying, okay, step one, step two, this. No, this is how and you have a backstory with it. Because a lot of times people that teach and are doing the coaching and all that, people want to know if you really can do it because right. The world we live in, it's a lot of scammers, and we want to see if you can do it. So you have to show rather than tell. So I don't know why I printed these questions because they ain't got nothing to do. They ain't helpful at all.
No, like, we just flowing.
Yeah, really. I try to have like some type of questions on the topic that that people that I have guests on. So, what is a good amount for the emergency fund?
You're supposed to have at least 3 to 6 months saved up for the emergency fund. But one thing that I tell myself, right now my income is inconsistent because mm-hmm. I'm building my business. Mm-hmm. So, it's imperative every time I get paid, dump that money into my bill account. The more I stack it up, and I'm still putting money in savings because that other 20% I'm splitting in between my wants and my savings account. Mm. So, if you're stacking money in your bill account should be able to cover you, but still have savings because you may have an unexpected bill pop up that you got to cover. So it's always about being able to cover whatever happens. Like I've been telling my kids are, how old are they? 27, 25, and 18. I'm always telling them be prepared for the what ifs. Mm-hmm. Because our biggest problem is that we never think about the future. We never think about what could happen. We live in that moment. So I'm like, I got to be prepared for the what ifs. That way, if you prepare for it, it's not a shock to you. Because you're like, okay, this happened and I can keep on going. Like I would use me for an example. I got sick in 2016 to where I was off work for 5 months. Mm. And that was a change. Again, sure. Only had one income, single mom to 3 kids. So me being down, first thing I thought when I came to was, how am I going to take care of my household? Mm-hmm. I didn't think about short-term disability. I didn't think about none of that. I was thinking about the income I was losing because I work like I'm a workaholic. Mm-hmm. So I would get overtime and get bonus plus regular paycheck. Mm. Maybe that's why I didn't have multiple streams of income because I still had other income coming in. Yeah. So, going through that, I had to start telling my kids, no, we can't do that. No, we're like this. But even though I went through that, it still didn't cause me to change my habits. Mm. And so my point in saying all this, we can go through something and still not change what we're doing, not understand the significance of it teaching us a lesson. Yeah, that is true. It's like I did a video either today or yesterday, and it's like we know winter coming. You gotta make sure our car is in order. You gotta make sure your tires. You gotta make sure your heat. You gotta make sure all the stuff is prepared for you to get on the road during the winter season. And winter season is coming up. So it's not like, oh, let's wait till January. No, November, October. All right, October, let's get some new tires. Let's get some oil change. Let's make sure we got it. So when December comes, maybe early November, we ain't like, oh, man, your tire got messed up because of the winter weather or whatever. You have to prepare, not just like you were saying, you got to expect the unexpected. Like I told my daughter, I was like, hey, make sure you got a half a tank or more in your car because of the cold weather. And she got an older car and you don't want it to, you go out there because you ain't put no gas in there. Mm-hmm. Not to get off topic, but to stay on topic. But
why do women wait to the last, or you might not be that way, but why do y'all wait to the last of the last to the last to go get some gas?
Well,
Why is that?
for me, I have sons,
Hmm.
so I literally will wait till they're in the car, or if they got to use my car, I'm like, can you go put some gas in it? But sometimes it's just us dreading having to go
Yeah, but
and getting out and pumping it, and
if you don't go and you just go, then you're gonna be stopped somewhere where you can't go.
I know. And what the thing is that we waste more money putting gas in because we let it get down to eat. You save more money once that tank gets to half. Feel that? That's probably $20 versus $40.
That's one thing I don't understand about people. I ain't gonna say who, I ain't gonna say man, woman. I'm gonna just say people. You wait till the car get down to the last and you put 10. The next day you gotta put 10 more. But if you use that 20 when it's at half, boom, it's back at full. Because for some reason, when your car's on full, it lasts longer.
I know.
It's like it stay on full for like 3 4 days, then it magically just go to half and then it go down. But when you keep it up there, then you don't got to. And it's just like when you keep filling up your emergency fund and you keep filling up your savings, if you keep filling up the things that you need, you won't have to keep going into an account that you don't
That's
need to
right.
go in.
That's
Because
right.
when you don't put that gas in there when you need, and Tuesday mornings is when you're supposed to get the cheap. That's when you get the cheapest gas. That's a hack. Tuesday morning is when the gas is the cheapest. You go out there and you'll notice that gas is cheaper. One of my old heads told me that, and I looked. I was like, oh, he right. Tuesday is when it changed. It go down a little bit. I don't know when it changed back, but Tuesday morning, go get you some gas. Um, and you make sure it stays there because you don't want to be stuck on the road or your car don't start because it's negative. Who knows what outside now because it's extra cold outside. But that's just like in life. You have to prepare yourself for the unexpected. You can't keep thinking, oh, nothing gonna happen, nothing gonna happen, nothing gonna happen. Something gonna happen. I don't care
Right.
if you got $1 in your bank account, if you got $1 million. Something gonna happen that can change your life. And if you're not prepared mentally or just prepared in general, then you're gonna be, oh no.
Right.
It's
Right.
the same thing with your finances.
Yes, that's why we react the way we do and get mad when something happens because we're not prepared. So when I do my videos, I used to say, be prepared, be proactive, and be proficient.
Mm.
But now I had to change it because I learned a little bit more. Now it's the more you know, the more your finances can grow.
So the more you know is how would you suggest someone learn more about money? What are some different ways? Because I know people say go read a book. I'm not reading a book. I can't read. I can't read books and like obtain the information necessarily as if I listen to somebody. So what are some different ways that someone can educate themselves on money?
Go to the bank. People don't realize a personal banker is not unattainable to you if you don't have a lot of money.
Mm.
The bank is the first place. I tell people stop going to the bank using an ATM or taking a picture to deposit a check. Go inside the bank because there's other programs and products they offer that can help you.
Mm.
But if you're not going inside and talking and saying, hey, I need help with my credit, or hey, I need help learning how to budget, you're not going to know. And then come to somebody like me, come to somebody that you can physically see and go to where they're at. Because social media, yes, is good, but you don't know who those people are. You can't go to them, you can't touch them. Go to somebody who you can see. Like another saying I say is that I don't sell nothing, I'm an educator.
Mm.
I want to educate you on finances. This is not a one transaction, this is building a relationship. So if you're coming to me for financial education, we're going to build a relationship to where even if you need something that I don't do, I got resources, I know people, you can still pick up the phone and call me and say, Kristle, I need A, B, and C. I'm like, okay, I know this person that does it. Here you go.
I'm the same way. Like I might not have it to help, but I know somebody that do, and that's crazy that you say that going to the bank. I ain't been to the bank, been inside my bank in a long time.
Right.
But when I would go in the bank, I never wanted to go outside. I want to go in and see the people. I want to talk to them. That's just like me at a job. I don't like emails. Email me, come meet me, or let's have a meeting. Cause I ain't gonna read your email. If it's long, I'm not gonna read it.
Right.
I'm gonna see. Okay, this is what you're talking about. I used to last year. My assistant principal, she's like my coach. She would email me. I just go straight to it. What we need, what we need. And she at first she'd be like, why you just don't? And I'm like, I don't. That's not me. I need to see you. I need to look at you. I want to, something you might say might click in my head, or I might have a question from our conversation. I think that's why I like live interviews. People be hitting me up and doing virtual, and it's like I want to interview, I want to get them on, but I like sitting down because it's a different feel. Like I ain't never saw you, I ain't never met you. We talk through Facebook Messenger, but when we sit down, it's like we know each other. We having a conversation. It's like, okay, I got some questions, but I don't need these questions because I have an organic conversation with people. And when you learn who you are, that'll help you with learning how with money. But I'm about to go into my bank and ask some questions. But I had Miss Katina on here, and it's some bank or some program that helps you with budgeting. Can't remember what it was. I ain't gonna. I feel like it was Huntington, but it's a bank. Don't quote me that it's Huntington, but it's a bank, and they have a program to help you budget.
Right. BMO is also good for that. BMO also has a product where they will help you establish credit, especially for younger kids who are just turning 18 and need to establish credit. They have that. I had somebody contact me because she knew I had connections with BMO. And she was like, well, can you tell me? So I sent her the information. And she was like, wow, they even showed me how to create invoices because she's an entrepreneur. So, just think about different things. Like when I opened up my second business account, I said I wanted to start selling merchandise. It was like, oh, well, we can get you set up with those little reader things that they use. I'm like, wow. I mean, and this is for me going inside the bank. Like sometimes I make myself go inside the bank just so I can interact with the people there.
Yep. And little things like that, like the reader thing. Like people be thinking a lot of stuff be hard to get, but it's really not. It's really about you just going in somewhere like a bank or going somewhere and asking questions. Because I remember we had a little reader thing. What was I doing? It was my mentoring program, and we ended up getting one. And I just thought that was the coolest thing because you feel like, oh, okay, I'm a business, I got this, and I just got my LLC and everything for this. So, what are some banks or credit unions? Because I made a post and a lot of people was putting credit unions. What are some banks or credit unions, maybe two or three, that are good for people to have business credit?
Well, I would say BMO again because they have a program for minorities, I think for minorities and women to help you with that. And then there's another bank called Bankable. I don't know too much about them, but I've seen them a couple of times at events. And one thing I can say about, physically talking to somebody, because I like meeting people one-on-one too.
What was the second one you said?
Bankable.
Okay, bankable.
The reason why I like meeting people one-on-one is that I like giving them a safe space to talk. Talking about your finances is the most hardest thing that people can do. And so I meet people where they're at. This ain't no, oh, I'm gonna come in with a suit. I'm gonna come in dressed down because I understand if people see you dressed a certain way, that can intimidate them to not talk. And I promise you, when I meet with clients, they will tell me their whole life story. And at first I was like, why are they doing this? But I give people a comfortable feeling to talk.
Yeah.
I share my mistakes. I've always been saying this. I'm turning my weakness into my passion. I didn't grow up knowing everything about finances. And I waited until my late 40s, I'm almost 50, to start learning. But the thing I want people to understand is no matter what age you're at, you can change the course that you're on with your finances. You can become financially free. But you got to meet somebody who's not just going to sell you something, who's going to educate you and want to build that relationship with you.
Hey, I love that because a lot of times people look at their age and, oh, I'm not worth such and such, or I'm not this. A lot of the richest peoples in the world didn't start till they was late in their 30s, 40s, 50s, some of them in their 60s. So it don't matter when you start, just start. Right. And that just threw me off of I forgot what you just said, and it just threw me off. because what's what is it? What did you just say? Dang it. That's what happened
We were
when
talking about what banks and
not
credit unions.
banks. It was something at the end that you were just saying. I can't even think.
Safe space. Look, I'm trying to give you code words. Safe space.
Yeah, it was that. It's being able to be yourself and being able to have someone that can meet you where you at. And it's not just finances, it could be coaching, it could be just life in general. Meet people, like be open to meet somebody where they're at. Not necessarily like, you come in and you dress a certain way or you gotta go somewhere. People want to see humans.
Right.
We don't want to see something made up. And I think a lot of people, when you go teach kids and you're going in, you're doing a presentation or whatever the case, or if you work, be human. Show like don't go in there dressed up. They ain't never seen nobody dressed up in a suit.
Mm-mm.
So that's not gonna be because you come in with a suit. That ain't impressing them. Like you have to make sure that like when somebody comes sit down, 90% of the people I ain't never met, ain't never talked to, and we sit down at least 45 minutes to an hour, and they like, man, that was a good conversation because I meet people where I'm at. Right. I don't meet people where they at. When you come on here, I meet you where I'm at because I feel like I ain't gotta dress up. This is my show. I be sometimes overthinking it. Like I know such and such gonna come on here and fly, and I ain't watched this week. What I got in here to just look? But then I'm also thinking in my head like this is going to go somewhere. So do I have to, dress different, but always be open to be yourself. I think people miss that in life of trying to be somebody else. Like just be you. I like that you said I dress down. I tell you about my mistakes because a lot of times you have coaches, you have people that are trying to help, and I don't know shit about you. Right. You ain't down. How do I know it worked for you? Because a lot of I know what it was. You said sell. You don't sell. You educate. So I've been around the block. I know the business. I know you jump on the webinar. At the end of the webinar, you selling me something. You reaching out to me. So one dude reached out to me. Was like, "Oh yeah, I see what you're doing. Da, 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 da. What you trying to sell me something?" That's exactly what I asked. I said, "You trying to sell me something?" He was like, "Yeah." I said, "No, I'm good. I know what you're doing." So like sometimes teach somebody something before you sell them to them. Right. Build that rapport. You coming out of nowhere. I don't know you. I don't know where you live. None of that. You talking about you going to sell me a product. I don't know you, Joe. So I'm not about to mess with you. I'm more of if you came to me, I met her. Or I could go and ask somebody, hey, I see you working with Miss Kristle. How is it working with her? Oh, it is. It's cool. Because I've had people different coaches. They didn't work out because they wasn't for me. I found the right one, and it's like, ooh, because they were able to tell me how they jacked up in life, and it helped them, so it can help me. A lot of times, people just want to sell you something. Stop trying to sell people something. Just be you.
Right. You know what? I would say the best teacher, especially in finances, the best teacher is the one who messed up. Because they can tell you their mistakes and they can tell you how they fixed it. If somebody in the financial industry has never experienced what you're going through, that's a break in that relationship to begin with. Yep. And they may not be able to understand or empathize with where you're at to really find out what your needs are to fulfill your needs.
It's just like when people say you can't be the GOAT if you ain't never lost everything. Right. If you ain't like this person, the coach that worked out for me, it was like he was talking about his younger self, but it was like, oh, he talking to me. Mm-hmm. And the way he talked is how I needed to be talked to. You gotta come cuss me out, put your foot on my neck, like, get in my face to get me. You could, you talk sweet all you want to. It ain't gonna work. And you have to be able to, I think, just be when you yourself, somebody gonna attract to you. You ain't gotta sell yourself. I used to sell Kirby vacuums. You know what that is? Mm-hmm. Expensive ass. Expensive ass.
Lost all the parts and it broke down.
So this was something we was doing in college. And what they told us was like, people ain't buying the vacuum because you're selling it. They buying the vacuum because they like you. The vacuum sells itself. So you got to build rapport. And I was like, oh, the first time I Not too many people do this. Sell three in one day. I sold it all based off them liking me. One dude was like, I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't really want to buy it, but I like you.
Right.
And
Right.
so I see what it can do. So I'm gonna do that. So just be yourself, but also build rapport, build a relationship with somebody. Because I feel like sometimes you join communities, you join stuff, and then maybe financially you can't go back to the group, but then you don't have the relationship ended because oh you ain't a part of this no more. But if you got a relationship before you joined or before that, you'll still be able to rock with each other. So I like that you said that you teach because a lot of people they selling.
Right.
They just selling. They trying to and you don't know who to believe in 2024, especially on the internet. I was thinking of this when you said it. Somebody you can touch. I want somebody I can touch because if you play with me, I can really touch you. Like that's why I can't touch you on the internet. You might be somewhere else. You might be in a different country. I can't touch you. But if I can touch you and you mess with me, I can touch you. That's how I was thinking in my brain. Like yeah. I want to be able to. I like sitting down and talking. Yeah, yeah. Don't try Jesus. Don't try me. Don't.
You know, I would say getting into life insurance and the finances on the opposite side of mortgage. I had my upline at the time give me a book on what kind of salesperson to be. And I was reading it. And as I was reading, I was like, man, this don't fit me. So I literally had to figure out what fits me.
Yep.
And it became the education piece because one thing I saw is that we don't value it. We don't understand it. Like people don't realize there is so many different ways to do life insurance. You know, and I'm not just talking about term, I'm talking about permanent. We get so caught up on, oh, that costs too much. It's not a bill, it's an investment. Like, people don't realize 2022, $797.7 billion was paid out in life insurance claims. This is tax free money. But instead of us getting it, we rather create a GoFundMe, which ain't nothing but a band aid to the problem. You know, it's called life insurance for a reason because you can use it while living. Like I used to be with one carrier, but now I'm independent. I love being independent because I just made my product portfolio bigger. And I can give you options of what you want to do, as well as show you different ways that you can use permanent life insurance while living. And it's more than just life insurance, it's disability, income insurance, critical illness, long-term care. We have to fill in every gap of our financial plan. And everybody doesn't sell the same products. So you may be thinking you have your plan together, but if they don't have disability, income insurance, critical illness, or long-term care, and something happens, your income's not protected, nor are your assets protected.
I life insurance is very important, and like you said, a GoFundMe ain't nothing but a band. It's just to cover whatever, and it sucks seeing that.
It does. It makes me mad.
It sucks seeing that people have to do that. And I gotta get me some life. I think well, when you have a job, you have so much, but you gotta get it outside of your job because your job will fire you tomorrow. You won't have nothing. But you gotta have some type of life insurance. And I haven't like dove in, but I've noticed like you can get your life insurance, you can do stuff with it, and then like it can be helpful. It's kind of like with your 401k. Like you can do stuff with those if you really need to use that money to be able to do some things. Go into a little bit more about the like life insurance. You don't gotta go in super deep, but what are maybe one or two options that people probably don't even know that they can do with a life insurance policy?
I'm glad you asked me that. Well, whole life can be used in about 3 to 4 different ways. You can do what we call a single premium payment whole life. That's where if you let's say you got a lump sum of money, you sold a house and got $100,000, and you're like, you know what, I need life insurance. You can take that $100,000. I'll tell you how much of a death benefit you get. You pay that $100,000, you don't have to make no more payments, and your money is still growing in it. This is only you can do this only on a permanent policy. Another thing that you can do with whole life, you can do it just like a term policy where you pay it for a period of time. After that period of time is over, you own it free and clear, don't have to make no more payments on it. And that you can do it for 10, 15, 20, or 30 years or up to age 65. Another thing that whole life offers is paid up additions. Like everybody's going crazy about index universal life. Don't sleep on whole life paid up additions. The reason why I say that is because whole life earns money by dividends. That's how it builds up the cash. But paid up addition is taking those dividends and buying up more life insurance. So it's increasing your cash value as well as your death benefit, which is the same thing, partially the same thing of what an index universal life does. The last way you can use whole life is with reduced paid up. So you can get a policy for, let's say, a death benefit of $100,000. Let that cash value build up, and you can get to a certain point in your life where you're like, you know what, I don't want to pay on this no more. Take that cash value, use it to buy a lesser amount of life insurance. And I listen to my clients' needs to decide what options I'm gonna present to them, and then let them see what best fits their needs. A lot of people think they don't have a say so when it comes to life insurance. Yes, you do, or at least with me, you do, because I want you to choose. That's your money, your life. You know what's going to best fit you. You can tell me what your needs are. I'm just presenting things to you for you to decide.
I like that. I definitely uh have to reach out to you after this to learn more about that because I I remember when I did have life insurance outside of my job, and I was like, man, if something happened to me, my kids would be better off with me not just looking at the numbers. I was like, man, this is a nice policy. Like if something was to happen, because a lot of times we don't realize when something happened to us, our debt becomes somebody else's debt around. And I'm like, and I was thinking this to myself, and I don't know if it's because I was thinking about, our episode coming up in just finances, but I was like, man, if something was to happen to me, who would take over? Who would have to deal with my debt? Would it be my kids? Would they have would I have enough money for them to be able to pay off whatever debt I have and to still have some money? And a lot of times we don't think of that. We just got the GoFundMe to pay for the funeral, and it's like that. We should never have to do that.
Right.
We should never, because, and that's really, to be honest, what it is. We don't got our priorities in order.
No, we don't. And I'm being brutally honest. I like brutally honest conversation. We don't. Like when I talk about finances, I don't want no cookie cutter conversation. Let's talk about the real stuff. Don't try to sell me on wealth building or this is how you get generational wealth. Generational wealth ain't gonna happen if you're not planning your estate.
Yeah.
So you can do all this wealth building. I got this, I got that. But if you ain't sitting down with an estate attorney and putting a plan on how you want it to pass it down, you're not creating generational wealth. You're creating a mess.
Yeah. And that's how I am. Like when people when people try to sell me something, or if it's something I might need, I'll be like, hey, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I ain't got it. So I just ain't don't I like somebody hit me up, right? And it was something about editing podcasts, and it's like, oh, they edit the first one for free. I'm like, okay, cool. So that I like that they show you what they can do. But then when you look at the prices, I'm like, I ain't going. I emailed her back just like this. I I ain't gonna be able to do nothing after that first free video just because of the prices. I thank you for reaching out. Thank you. You saw my show somewhere. I appreciate it, but right now that ain't in my budget, and I have to keep it. I have to be honest with people because I used to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be able to like. I still need to get my logo, and I was supposed to pay half and then get another, and I wasn't able to because life happened. I ain't got the emergency. I'm honest with myself. Like I gotta get it together because you never know what can happen. But you want to be able to make those investments when you got a business building up. Because if you can't make those investments to improve your business, how you gonna be able to get funds? How you gonna be able to create revenue if you ain't keeping up with the Joneses, as in production or as in quality or those things? You got to be honest with you. That's why I like an honest person. Right. I ain't gonna lie. That first time I sat down with somebody, he was like, "Tell me everything." I'm like, "Nah, bro, I don't really know you like that to be trying to tell you everything." But he was like, "No, you have to tell me everything so I can help you." And when I did that, I was like, it felt good to get that off my chest. Now, all right, now we can fix it. Because when you're not honest about your numbers or about your money situation, and that's why you have to get the right person. Right. Because for some reason, somebody might go tell your business. Okay, you tell my business, we gonna have a real issue. And that's why some people don't do that. But you got to get somebody financially in your corner to help you if you don't know nothing about money.
Right. One thing I do with my clients when I'm meeting with them for the first time, we do multiple meetings.
Hmm.
Our first meeting is always going to be us getting to know each other. And I'm taking notes about what they're saying, but one of the main questions that I ask people is, what is your budget? Because once you get a policy, I want you to be able to keep it.
Mm.
And like I always tell people, you don't have to start off big. You can start off small. And what people don't realize is that if you're under 40, there's a rider you can get added to your policy called guaranteed insurability,
Mm.
meaning that you can start off with a low death benefit, but if as your money gets better, you want to go higher, you can increase your death benefit without a medical exam. You can increase your death benefit even if you have to get another medical exam. So it's not anything that's set in stone. You can make changes. But if nobody's telling you that, you're not going to know. The other thing is that you may want the bells and whistles the first time. But if you can't afford a permanent policy, start off with a term. And in that term policy, you can convert it over to a permanent policy once your money gets better. I use an acronym called DOM, which stands for debt, income, mortgage, and education. That's how we determine how much of a death benefit you need. So I'm asking you, how much debt do you have? How much income do you make? Do you have a mortgage? If you have minor kids, do you want them to go to college? Once we get that number figured out, if it's high above your budget, we can still work something out. Even if you get quotes, you start off saying, I want $1 million policy and I want it to be permanent. And I'm asking you about your budget. You're like, no, it don't matter. It don't matter. I'll do the quote, but don't get nervous about it, because just like you can negotiate for a car, you can negotiate prices for your life insurance.
Mm. Mm. I like that. So, trying to think how I want to word. I want you to give 3 tips, but I'm trying to figure out the word. 3 tips of somebody. You don't got to give, your recipe of how you help people, but give 3 tips of someone was to come sit down and have a consultation with you after they hear your 3 tips of how they can better their finances. Don't necessarily have to be, because we talked about the budget. Don't want to what's it called? Kick the dead horse of saying the budget, but just 3 ways that they can better their finances. We just learned one of the life insurance, of other ways that they can either add income or yeah, or they can add income.
Well, I would say 3 ways would be, I want to know what your money mindset is, meaning where are you at with your finances? How do you see it? Because that's where we're going to start at, just me knowing where you at. Then I want to find out what your why is. Why are you coming to see me? Why do you feel like you have a problem with your finances? And my last thing will be, how serious are you about making changes? Because it's easy for us to say, we tired of this. We want to make changes, but when it comes down to what I'm telling you that needs to be done, are you going to accept it and do it? Because it's not going to be something that you want to do or something that you like. Like I say, budgeting is not about restriction. It's about organizing. So when you're saying you're tired of how you're living financially and you want to become financially free, you got to organize stuff. You got to prioritize stuff, and you got to be willing to do it.
I love those tips. Um, I appreciate you. This is a good
Thank you for
conversation.
having me.
No problem. This is a good conversation. I always like be mind boggled by like the conversations I have with people, like as we're going and where it goes. And like this was a real conversation. We talked about real stuff that people need to hear, and maybe they might not like the approach of how we said some things, but that's the kind of conversation you have to have with yourself or with someone when it comes to finances. So I appreciate you coming on. I definitely got my own question. I wasn't gonna put my business all out here. Y'all ain't gonna talk. Y'all ain't gonna be like, y'all see that podcaster and he said this. No, y'all ain't gonna do me like that. But I do have like more questions and stuff of my own. But I do appreciate you reaching out. Appreciate you coming on and having this great conversation. Like I love being able to talk to people and them be themselves, but we can have a conversation about a topic that can help other people. Because when we were talking earlier, like I know when I don't use big words, I don't talk like I got a PhD or none of that, but I know how to have a conversation with anybody that comes to my show, and it don't matter. I done had multimillionaires. I done had famous people, all these different things. You just have to always remain to be yourself in what you do. I don't
Right.
care if it's coaching, teaching, lawyer, doctor, finance, whatever it is, be yourself. Because this conversation was two people being themselves. She a
Yeah.
little more seasoned than I am, but we still are able to have a conversation on the same level because it doesn't matter. I think sometimes the reason the world is the way it is, and not your necessarily your age group, but older, our grandparents, my mom, your grandparents, like that age group, they're so stuck in their ways and don't want to have a conversation with a young person because they don't think they can learn from a young person, but you can learn from anybody.
You sure can. I tell my kids all the time, y'all teach me stuff.
Mm.
Because
Yeah,
sometimes I may be thinking I'm doing something the right way, but they may not be receiving it.
yeah,
So they teach me stuff. Like one of the things they taught me, again, I'm a mama boy. You know, when that last baby graduated, I'm like, Lord, I got to prepare myself to let him go.
hmm,
Let him go. You know, and it's hard because as a mother, we want to save,
yeah,
and we can't save them from everything.
yeah. That's true. I can see because when I with me and they mama, it's a difference. I'm like, go ahead, bump your head. Not saying I don't want nothing to harm my child, but go ahead and go bump your head. Go out there, do you. I gave my daughter the college rundown. This is what you don't do. This is, because I know kids gonna be kids. It's like go bump your head and do what you need to do. And
Mm-hmm.
it's different with moms, but you all like my nephew or my son. He 9. My nephew about to be 15. Or yeah, 15 tomorrow. They taught me stuff on my phone that I didn't even know.
Right,
Simple stuff. I'm
right.
like, are you serious? I'm like, this is how you do this. Taught me something that's right on my phone. I ain't even look it up or nothing. So don't think because you're older than somebody you can't learn from somebody. Because guess what? A lot of the older generation don't know technology, and guess who you can learn technology from?
The younger
These
generation.
kids, cause your little grandbaby, even your
Mm-hmm.
great grandbaby can teach you how to get on your phone,
Yeah.
record videos, all that. I remember my mom used to be like, "How you send a message or send a video?" I'm like, "Oh Lord," but you had to think. Times is different. Phones wasn't important to you to them.
Right,
Work. We don't need a phone just to talk to the kids. Now if you ain't got a phone, I don't even know how you function in life.
right, right,
Well, unless you're a kid, you don't
right.
necessarily need a
Well, my mama, she know a little bit too much technology.
phone. And some of them do. Some of them be. That's all they. My mom, her husband, he used to get all the new technology. What do you need this for? But that's just how times are. But I said all that just to say, don't look at someone because of their age or who they are. Just listen to them.
Right. And we have to show, as the older generation, the ability to adapt and change. Because that's the only way these kids are going to be able to adapt and change. Life is all about changes. You know, I've been in the schools talking to kids. I love talking to the youth, especially as they're transitioning from childhood to adulthood. That is a huge transition. And there's so much that they don't know, that they're not prepared for, because a lot of times what happens is what we don't know as parents, we're not teaching it to our kids. And so our kids are just going through life making the same mistakes and then learning later on. So, I love talking to them and just, showing them how I've changed careers.
Mm-hmm.
I have a degree in marketing. I've been in finance for almost 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Never planned it, but it's okay to change. It's okay to adapt.
Yep.
But we have to give that message to the younger generation. Like I'm doing a event in March, and it's a women's brunch, but anyone can come whether you're an entrepreneur or not. The purpose of me doing that is to show healthy relationships with women. We have this stigma of women can't get along. I have met some phenomenal women entrepreneurs who sold a seed into me. Support is not always monetary.
Mm-hmm.
It can be a shared post, a
Yeah.
kind word, motivation, encouragement. It
Talk
can
to
be
them.
all those different things. But one of the biggest things that I wanted to show is the generation coming up behind us, healthy relationships with women. So that's important to me. Even though I'm a mom, I'm a mom parent. I'm a mom boy parent. Is that what is that? Is it mom dad or boy mom? You know, because I got girl dad. Oh yeah, so I'm a boy mom.
Ooh, all
You know,
right.
but I got all
I'm
granddaughters.
glad you added one and one. Okay, I'm sorry. All right. Oh man, it was I was something I was about to say. Oh, your event. It's a women event. So there's gonna be some aunties there. Can I come?
It's not for men, but I do have something planned for you men because I
No, no,
love
no,
doing
no, no.
events.
I don't want to go to the men event. I want to go to the women event. Cause I know you got some seasoned friends, some auntie friends that's gonna be there, and they gonna be yeah. Maybe I can do the podcast, something. I could.
Hey, I need somebody there to do it streaming live.
I don't like. I like this. I don't like doing behind the scenes. I just like sitting down and talking. Nope, I can't. Cause then I want the camera to move to somebody that I was looking at that I thought I don't want to mess you
Oh
up.
yeah, you
But
gonna be
yeah,
looking at the
well,
auntie.
you can have some type of event where after that you invite those aunties that I can come to.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to ask, and people be like, "You crazy?" But no, I be lonely. This single life ain't cool.
Hey,
Like
I know.
I've
I
been
know. I'm living it
single
strong.
for 5 or 6 years. That's how long I've been divorced. I feel like don't feel like it's been that long, but it's been like that. And I like been single, and I'm like, it's cool, but when you're working on when you're an entrepreneur, you have a 9 to 5, or you're a full entrepreneur and you work entrepreneur somewhere in there. You get done, you be wanting somebody to just give you a hug. Somebody
Yes.
just you can lay on. You ain't gotta, or you can tell your ideas to,
Or share
and
your excitement about
yeah,
something that happened.
and they get excited because I ain't gonna
Yes.
lie, I hate talking to some of my friends and family members about stuff, or texting somebody about something. They be like, "Oh, okay." I be want to say, "Fuck you." I ain't even gonna lie to you. I be mad as hell when somebody give me a dry ass reply, and it's
Yes.
something that I'm just. So when I have something excited, all right, who can
I know.
talk
I call
to?
my best friend.
I call my mom.
Yeah, I call my best friend. She's all the way in Tennessee, and she has to be the very first person I call and tell. Like she would be like, "Why didn't you tell me first?" I'm like,
I
"I'm
mean,
sorry."
God already be knowing, but I sometimes just say it to him because I really hate having that excitement, and I really look through my phone like, damn, who can I even?
Right.
And when you don't have, and there's nothing was against some of my friends, there's nothing against y'all, because when you're not entrepreneur, you don't have that mindset. It's your
Right.
thoughts are different, so you can't even get mad sometimes. But it's like, dang, you can't be excited. What you? We gonna wrap it up after you said this. After I say this, because I like what you said. It don't take money to support your damn friends.
Yes.
You can like, you can comment, you can share. You share all the dumb shit, all the violence, all the fights, all the trending, all who's hot, all
Right.
these famous people
Right.
that don't know nothing about you, don't care about you, ain't sending you a cent, but you got people in your neighborhood that is doing stuff that is changing people's lives, that's helping people, and you won't even share their post. But then when they popping, you want to pop up.
Right.
I made a post. If y'all left me in 2023, leave me there.
That's
Because
right.
when I get to popping and shining this year, don't pop up because I'm gonna act like I don't know who you is. I ain't even gonna hold you. I'm not. What? Remember you? Remember when I was down and out last year? You left, brother.
Right.
Yeah. Now I'm up. Don't do it. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. You could be a family member. Besides my mama, my son, my daughter, my sister, my dad, and I got one cousin that them 5 family members. If you ain't them 5 family members, I don't know you. Don't come cousin somebody. I don't know who you are. But I just had to get that off my chest because you was talking about it, and it's very important.
Oh, I was gonna say I do have another event I'm planning for June. It's gonna have aunties there. It's gonna be auntie and uncles. So bring your uncles.
No, no, my friends are no. I'm not bringing me. I ain't, listen. I don't need to bring nobody else. I don't need no wingman. None of that. If I bring anybody, I'm bringing my son so they can see how beautiful of a child I made, and they be like, "Oh, he cute." I know. Yep. I definitely use my son for his good looks because it works. I mean, he look good. I look good. It just adds up. But I need a quote. I need an underdog quote. It could be about finances, it could be your favorite quote, it could be a quote you live by, but I need a quote.
This is something that I feel like I made up. Somebody else may have said it, but I ain't found it. Trust the process, but enjoy the journey.
Mm, I love that. I love that because everybody always think uh, the journey. Say we neighbors, right? We grew up together, parents went together, set us up for school, and we go on this, we go somewhere. It just don't work. My path gonna be different than your path, and it's like I can't be mad because you made it there before I did. Maybe I didn't do something right. So enjoy the process. The process is not pretty at all, but it's beautiful to me. I hate some of those ugly moments, but it's like I learn from it. It's like
Yes.
it's like when you get to wherever you get to, you can look it back at those ugly moments and laugh at them. It's like as a kid, you can finally tell your parents some of the dumb stuff you did and they didn't know about. And it's like, ooh, and you can say it and you know you're not gonna get in trouble.
Right.
Or you can laugh at those moments and like, man, you remember when we was sleeping on that air mattress, or you remember when we had that car that we had to do whatever just to get it started, whatever. So just enjoy the process.
Yes.
Enjoy it because it's ugly, but it's pretty.
That's right.
Tell people how they can reach you on the social media or the internet, or I always say www dot. Just tell people.
Okay, well, you can reach me on Facebook. My business page is Kristle, and let me spell my name because it's Kristle with a K. Hey, I'm Kristle with a K. Kri, S is in Sam, T is in Tom, LE, Brooks Investments with an S. My website is www.kristlebinvestllc.com, and that's invest with the S, and that's Kristle with the K. You can reach me via phone 317-331-1213. I have the most easiest phone number for people to remember. Or you can support me at one of my events. Like I said, I have the Women's Circle Brunch and Silent Auction coming on March 30th from 12 to 4 at the Needham Event Center. Shout out to Crystal Gibson for believing in my dream and for my panel speakers for believing and wanting to collaborate with me too.
You don't need nobody to talk to the panelists for that event? No.
Sure.
That's the auntie event, right?
Right, that's the auntie event.
Yeah, you got to dress up. I even put on a suit. No, I ain't gonna put on a suit. That ain't me. But I'm just, because you said the event in June and it's January. It's gone.
Right.
I need something during the cold weather.
Right.
I'm skinny. I need,
But you still support.
I can still support those events, but I was just trying to see.
You just need to be with the auntie.
It don't necessarily gotta be an auntie, but the women my age, I don't know. I ain't really feeling them since my divorce. I ain't really. It ain't been a whole lot of women my age I've talked to, and they ain't lasted. Some of them friends on me and stuff. Mm-hmm. The aunties love me, but I've always said that aunties and grandmas always love me for whatever reason, and grannies do. But anyways, that's
when I first heard the word auntie, my son's friend was like auntie. I'm like, who you calling an auntie? I'm like, I ain't that old. And I was like, oh, that's a term of endearment. That's not bad.
It's not. But you gotta be the age of an auntie. It's a lot. It's some young people calling themselves auntie. I get it. You an auntie, like you got nephews and nieces, but you're not an auntie.
What is the age group?
If you in your 30s, you're not an auntie. If you 40, closer to 50, that's auntie-ish. Like you ain't even in your prime in your 30s. These are women that's in the prime. Don't let that go over your head either. Or it's young grannies, cause I'll be like, yeah, I got a granny friend. They be like, why you call her a granny? Cause she a granny for real. She has grandchildren. That's what I'm saying. I'm not calling them grannies cause they older. I ain't putting the age out there, but they grannies. I like older women. I don't know why. I just do. But I don't know if I would marry an older woman. I don't know. It's up to God. Later. But I appreciate you for being on.
I appreciate for being here. I love the conversation and the flow.
I do too. I tried to have them questions, and then my phone, I had to go get my phone. The camera didn't win. I still got this. I didn't move, and you just kept it going. So I appreciate you. I love what you do. I definitely want to connect out after this and outside of this to see how my finances could get help because they sure could need some help. Hey, and if speaking of that, if y'all want to donate, if you're listening, uh PayPal Underdog Talk, UNDDAWG Talk. That's a way that we can that I can make some money. Sponsors, if you got a product, if you got something, hit me up. I can put you on the show. You can come in and do an interview, or if you just got a product or a service that you want to be mentioned on the show, email is underdog talk podcast at gmail, or on any social media underdog talk. DM me. This year I'm making money. I told myself I'm monetizing on the podcast this year. The first year was just get my feet wet. The second year was learning how to get guests in the city that I'm at, and this year is I'm trying to get that bag. So, however, you can help me. You can help me. If you have any comments, tell me how I can do the show better. My questions whack, whatever the case may be. Let me know. I not soft. I can take honest criticism. And you can follow. Just go to Google and just type in Underdog Talk, and I pop up, and the show pop up, and all the social media pops up. So give us. I always say closing word. That's church. That's how you knew I grew up in the church. Closing word. Give us a final touch on the episode so we can get up out of here because I'm getting hungry.
The final touch I would say is finances can be your friend and you can get to where you want to go, but you got to talk to somebody who you can trust and is going to give you that safe space to be yourself, that's going to empathize with you and be willing to teach you versus just telling you what to do. There's a difference. So give me a call, 317-331-1213.
And on that note, keep being great. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's not. Oh, so you just want me. I'm glad this episode.